Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for Wednesday, December 21st, 2021. Going to start off today with a bit of some somber news, man. Steelers Hall of Famer Franco Harris passed away today at the age of 72. We've all seen the catches of the immaculate reception. And did the ball hit the ground? Did it not? We will never know, but it was a big deal. Passed away at 42. I'm sorry, 72. And the thing that is messed up, obviously, any death is a tragedy, but the Steelers play in 3 days' time, and they were going to retire his jersey as well as commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. And he passed away earlier this morning. So that's an unfortunate situation. Only 72. You really start thinking about your mortality the older you get. And I don't know if there was any problems, if he was facing any problems or anything like that, health wise or anything. But Franco Harris, man, passed away today at the age of 72. Just 2 or 3 days after he was going to get his jersey retired, and 50 years after the Immaculate Reception. Franco Harris was 72. And speaking of things that are hard to deal with, if you guys are going through it and you just need somebody to talk to, reach for your cell phone. It's usually always in your hand, right? Just dial 988. And somebody on the other line will listen. Because I've been saying this all week, man, and I'm going to try to make this a habit. A lot of times things happen, and then we move on. It's been 21 years since 9/11. It's been 80 years since Pearl Harbor. And we remember, but those things are not in the forefront of our minds all the time. But I want this to be in the forefront of my mind. I want that to be too, but you guys know what I'm saying. You get one life. You are important. You matter. And I've been through some hard times myself, and some where I didn't think I was going to see the light. And thankfully, I saw a small crack of light, man, and I went toward it. So if you guys got any issues, you need somebody to talk to, any thoughts of doing something harmful to yourself, please dial 988. Oh, man. We done started these shows a lot recently with bad news. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, hard to kind of go on and keep going, but I think that it's part of life to remember, but you have to keep going, right? You have to keep going. So just a little side note, too. Man, we were talking about Willie McGinnis the other day. And he in some trouble. He is in some trouble. TMZ got their hands on the video of him in this restaurant. This happened almost 2 weeks ago, December 9th. And I can tell you what, man, it ain't a good look for Big Willie. Because he went Big Willie style on my man. So if that was him, I mean, you're talking about like a full-blown court trial, jury, is this Willie McGinnis? It was grainy. My man picked up a bottle, like a wine bottle, and was cracking the dude over the head while he was on the ground. So if that is Willie, and he doesn't take some type of plea deal or something like that, he is in big trouble. NFL Network has not fired him yet, but he will be off while this is going on. I'm even hearing the Patriots might remove him from the Hall of Honor. Like, yeesh. You a big dude, you 6'4", somewhere around there. You a celebrity, so everybody is going to be looking at you, and you behave like a savage. You got to be better than this, man. You have to be better than this. Dave, I have not watched those interviews today. Had quite a bit to do this afternoon and late morning and early afternoon. I was wondering why Ben Johnson and those guys were on, and I had to think and said, oh, everything is pushed up a day because of the fact that we play on Saturday. So typically the assistant coaches and things like that would get on Wednesday. And then we wouldn't see any of them Friday, Saturday, and then you have the game. But since we play on Saturday, I'm assuming that the injury report will be out tomorrow and things like that. So what's up, everybody in the chat? What is going on, NFL Kid? Shouldn't you be in school, man? Volcano, what's going on? Lions Mania, David. Zay, what's up, man? What is going on, bro? So I just got an update from David Pike. He is going to do his video, his live stream tomorrow because of the holidays that are coming up, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. His holiday, or Christmas, is on a Sunday this year, and Christmas Eve is Saturday. So a lot of people are going to be with their families. He's decided to do the video, his live stream, on before that, so that, you know, I forgot all about that, man. Forgot all about it. Man, oh man, long work week ends. Oh yeah. So today's your last day. Today is your last day, I'm assuming. But man, listen, I got something that I'm gonna wait till y'all find it. When y'all find it, I want you to come back to one of the. If you, I made something new, and if you guys find it, let me know. You're not gonna find it right now, but if you do find it somewhere in the future, you stumble across it, I want you to come back to this video December 21st and say, Grid, I found what you were talking about. Send y'all on a little Easter hunt. I'm sorry, not Easter hunt, a little egg hunt. All right, so let's get into the news of the day. This is probably the biggest news that I've seen today. A little slow day. You know, usually on slow news days, y'all keep me going. Oh, Lord have mercy. Isaac, I appreciate you, bro. I could have went to school today, but my parents let me stay home, and I get an early winter break. Well, congratulations, NFL Kid. That's what's up. That's what's up. I remember them days. I remember them days, man. Shout out to cool parents, let you get a head start. Isaac, yeah, man. We do have to talk about that. I have to find that that sound bite. But yeah, we'll talk about it, but we'll save that clown for another segment. Right now, I want to talk about my team. Nope, just got on, Nick, at 2:30. Talked about Willie McGinnis and how he's in big trouble, and Franco Harris passed away. So, yep, just started. All right, so let's do this. So remember, if you guys are talking when I make a segment, which I'm about to do, if you keep it segment related, then I can bring those comments. I'm planning to appear on camera after the new year, after the Super Bowl. I'm probably going to start buying my studio equipment set up. Need another desk and probably some extra lighting. I'm gonna have to figure this whole studio thing out because without a producer, I have to do everything myself. And the way I have it now, I sit in front of my computer, but I want to be a little back, man. I want to have a Rich Eisen thing going on. I want to create some space between me and this big old back cave setup that I have. Oh, man. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is this. Shout out to Pride of Detroit, man. I love it. They've been doing this for a long time. I think they part of SB Nation. I'm not sure if they have any connection to them, but they've been doing a lot for a long time. And it makes what I do a bit easier when they do the work for you. So shout out to those guys. I will link the article that I'm going to be referencing in the description of this video so you guys can see the whole thing. But I thought that this was worth the video because I do a lot of math, and you guys know I was talking about playoffs when we were 1-6. And that's just because I need to stay in the season. I can't be talking extensive draft. I can't be talking all this other stuff because the season goes by so fast. We'll all be a year older this time next year. Like, So good or bad, I like to stay in the season because the Lions off season is their season. So I like to stay in the season. But I saw something from Pride of Detroit today. Like I said, not a ton of news coming out, seeing as how it's essentially Thursday. And like Wednesday, Thursday is a very slow news day because this is the day that Coach Campbell does not get in front of the media. So because we have a game on Saturday, then everybody's bumped up a day. So we probably saw Dan Campbell for the last time yesterday, potentially. But this is coming from Pride of Detroit, and I do a lot of math, but as far as when it comes to analytical data. But I haven't done this much math. And according to Pride of Detroit, this article is from Jeremy Reisman from 7 a.m. this morning, okay? How Detroit Lions can clinch a playoff spot before playing the Packers in Week 18. Somebody brought up Aaron Rodgers, and we'll talk about him. We might as well end this segment. Aaron Rodgers. You guys might have heard fear in my voice the other day. It's not fear of Aaron Rodgers. It's not fear of the Green Bay Packers. It is fear of the refs at Lambeau Field. We have seen hands to the face. We have seen phantom. I don't want to deal with that. I'd much rather the Packers be done. I want them to be done. But there is a way that the Detroit Lions can clinch a playoff spot. But Aaron Rodgers, when interviewed by Lisa Salters after Monday night, he had to correct her. She asked him, blah, 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 you get the win, and the next three teams, your last three teams, are over 500. So she misspoke. It happens. She's human. It's code. She misspoke. And the Vikings are over 500. The Dolphins are over 500, who they play this weekend. And the Lions are 7-7. And this dude says, well, one of them is 7-7, meaning 50%, meaning 500. And the smirk on his face was, it was like he had to single us out, right? The smirk on Aaron Rodgers' face is like saying, I hope that we are 8-8 when we play each other, because we all know what can happen in Lambeau Field, right? But the Detroit Lions might go to Lambeau and not even have to worry about Big Head Mars attacks. According to Pride of Detroit, the Week 18 game against the Packers in Lambeau Field could mean nothing to the Detroit Lions as they clinch a playoff spot with these very realistic outcomes in the next 2 weeks. So if you are following me, the Detroit Lions can go into Lambeau with a spot secure. Seating could change, but they could have a spot secure. I'm just going to cut straight to the chase of how that could happen. Again, I'll link the article in the description. The bottom line is this. This coming week, week 16, we need. So the routing schedule that I put up, so you can pause the video or go back. In week 16, we need the Chiefs to beat the Seahawks, which we expect. We need the Niners to beat the Commanders, which we also expect. We need the Dolphins to either beat or tie the Packers, which most of us expect. And last, and certainly not least, we need to handle our business. Okay? So pretty much everything I've been saying for the past couple of days. Chiefs beat the Seahawks, Niners beat the Commanders, Dolphins beat or tie the Packers, and the Lions beat the Panthers. Now, into week 17, if all of that stuff happens in week 16, the Detroit Lions will be in the 7th seed heading into week 17. Unbelievable. From 1-6 to 7-8. And in the playoffs, 8-7 in the playoffs with 2 weeks left in the season. Now, week 17, for us, according to Pride of Detroit, to clinch a playoff spot before we face the Green Bay Packers, this needs to happen. The Jets need to beat the Seahawks. The Browns need to beat the Commanders. And the Vikings need to beat or tie the Green Bay Packers, and of course, the Lions need to win. If those things happen, the Detroit Lions could have a spot secure. They would clinch a spot in the playoffs. My guess, based on that, because it doesn't break it down per se in this, where they would be spotted, but I'm assuming they would be at the 6th spot heading into Lambeau, with the potential to hold on to the 6th with the win, drop down to the 7th with a loss. So again, the Detroit Lions can get in the playoffs with a win and a Commanders loss this weekend. They can clinch if in Week 16 the Chiefs beat the Seahawks, the Dolphins beat or tie the Packers, and in Week 17 the Jets beat the Seahawks, the Browns beat the Commanders. The Green Bay Packers, that's the team that kind of has me on edge. And again, it has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers and his team. It has everything to do with being at Lambeau Field with something on the line. And as we discussed yesterday, the NFL will flex for the last game of the season. It will be the game with the most on the line. There's a lot of stuff setting up this weekend. A lot of stuff. They're going to be, my guess is 3 or 4 spots open and are going to be decided by the last game. So the question I have for you, do you think the Detroit Lions can secure a playoff spot in Week 17 before they even go to Lambeau? I think it's very possible because Week 16, I see Week 16 going exactly like that. The Chiefs should beat the Seahawks with no problem. The Niners should beat the Commanders, but the Niners beat the Eagles. But Week 17 is a little more shaky. The Jets are playing for their playoff lives, but they'll be coming from a 9-day break because they play tomorrow night. The Browns, Commanders, and they're in Washington. Those are the 2 games that I'm worried about. I could see them going either way. I'm supremely confident about the Week 16 games. Wouldn't that be something if the Detroit Lions could clinch a playoff spot before the season is even over after the 1-6 start? That would be history. Speaking of history, we talked about it yesterday, and I think the Lions are going to join the 1970 Cincinnati Bengals and make the playoffs after starting 1-6. That's what I believe they're going to do. 100%. Okay, what's up, Rainbow Girl? What's going on? Rodgers should be worried about the Dolphins instead of taking shots at the Lions. Zay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Why are you worried about us? You don't play us to the last week of the season. What's up, Big T? Good afternoon, Derek. Cool question. I think Goff is our QB, and we do not need to replace him. I believe that as well. I think we do need a backup. I just shout out to my guy, Troxel, said that Josh Dobbs, the quarterback that we just went and signed, was signed and claimed by someone else. I can't remember who it was, and he just told me. But Dobbs is no longer on the Detroit Lions practice squad. What's up, Nick? What's going on, bro? That's the host of Touchdown Detroit Lions that airs Tuesday at 5 p.m. EST. Shout out to Nick, man. He's on his 3rd show, so make sure y'all tune in, man. Tune in. Wouldn't it be funny if Lions wrap up playoff berth before Green Bay and they sit Goff? Okay, so I got a question for y'all. That's a good question, Patty. So if the Detroit Lions secure a playoff spot at 9-7 and they go to Green Bay, do we sit Jared Goff? That is a really, I never even thought of that. If we sit Jared Goff, we sitting everybody. Really? It's going to be a preseason game. The Tennessee Titans. There you go, Volcano. Thank you, man. Thank you. And that's because Ryan Tannehill we don't know what's going on with him, and then they have Malik Willis. Okay, so if the Lions could get the 6th seed, Would you sit if they were guaranteed a playoff spot heading to Green Bay? Would you sit? Who would you sit? Would you sit Goff? Would you sit Swift? Would you sit DJ Chark? I mean, what are we? So that's what we're doing. Really? Really? Wow. Yeah, because at that point, we secure. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What if the Minnesota Vikings fall out of the number 2 seed, which is very possible? As a matter of fact, Gardner Minshew is probably going to get to start against the Dallas Cowboys. They have to win that game. If the Philadelphia Eagles win this weekend, they secure the home field advantage throughout the NFC. Now, what if the Niners fall to 3? Or, I'm sorry, the Niners move to 2 because they're already 3. What if the Niners move to 2 and the Minnesota Vikings drop to 3? And the Lions have a chance to win against the Green Bay Packers and be the 6th seed and go to Minnesota. Or they lose and be the 7th seed and go to San Fran. Which one would y'all want to say? Nick says, I would sit nobody. A 10-win season in playoffs means a lot. What if they have a chance to obtain the 6th seed? All right, so I'm asking because I give you my personal opinion. My personal opinion, we ain't sitting nobody. We ain't sitting Jared Goff. That's my honest opinion. The Detroit Lions would not sit. We are the grit warriors. We not going to take we just made it. We in the playoffs, y'all. Yeah, let's take a break. They not going to sit nobody. I don't care if they got a clinch spot. I would be surprised if they sit someone with a clinch spot. That is insane, man. And the crazy part about the NFL, what's coming up, is that it's a ton of spots that a few spots that a ton of teams are fighting for. Okay, Black Spirit says Minnesota or Dallas. Patty Grimes, Dallas ain't moving nowhere. It's impossible that we play Dallas. Well, not impossible, but Dallas would have to completely free fall. As a matter of fact, we can't be higher than them because they already got 10 wins and they beat us. The best we could be is 10-7. The worst they could be is 10-7. So they're pretty much locked up. Right now, they're still in. If Philadelphia wins, then it's almost certain that the Dallas Cowboys will have locked up the 5th seed. Yeah. So the Dallas Cowboys are stuck in 5th if they lose against the Philadelphia Eagles. If they beat the Eagles, they have a chance to go for the division. Because basically the Giants win on Sunday night. The Giants win put the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. So they will be no lower than the 5th seed. What if Green Bay tried taking out Goff? Well, then somebody need to be fined and suspended. If they bounty gate us, Patty, that's a relevant point, man. But I don't think we're gonna sit. I don't think Jared Goff is gonna let them sit him. The difference between, like I said, and we'll be playing for seeding at that point. So if the Lions, that would be almost tanking in a way to sit Jared Goff. McKenzie says, I want to stay at 7 seed because San Francisco is a problem for sure. Yeah, but here's the thing, though, McKenzie. The San Francisco 49ers could sneak into that 2nd seed. Because if the Green Bay Packers lose this weekend to the Miami Dolphins, they are going to be playing spoiler for the Minnesota Vikings with seeding and for the Detroit Lions for a possible playoff appearance. So expect Aaron Rodgers to play the rest of the season. I really don't think he's going to hand over the reins to Jordan Love knowing that he can spoil division rivals' chances at seeding. And for us, since he want to single us out, the playoffs. I don't think we take out. I don't think Jared Goff sits. It's just not in our DNA to have his brother sit because we got a playoff berth secure. We could. They could. But I don't see that happening. So I wasn't paying attention during this whole thing. But we only had 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns against the New York Jets. And the Jets, the defense is ridiculous. We scored the score to win the game, and then the Khalif Raymond touchdown. And what I didn't realize until a few hours later is that was Khalif Raymond's first punt return. When he got to the end zone and he fell out, and I was like, okay, well, it was only 47 yards or something like that. So is he that tired? It's not like he ran 100. And then I realized that it was his first. He's been in the league since 2016, been on 7 different teams, and was undrafted. So he was quite emotional after the touchdown. They have a clip. I want to say I think I saw it on Twitter of the team. It was a real up close shot, and the team is, yelling at him, yeah, yeah. And he's down there, and I think he was crying. I think the tears, the emotion had got the best of him as far as scoring that touchdown the first time in his career via punt. And then looking back on it, how critical was that for our team? If we went out and go 9-1, I am not afraid of playing anyone. Let's roll. These boys are for real. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I agree to some extent, but the San Francisco 49ers, it's a whole different atmosphere at Levi Stadium, and I think that if I'm going to be honest, that the Detroit Lions can beat the Minnesota Vikings. I think they could beat the winner of the NFC South. Could they beat the Eagles? Maybe. But the San Francisco 49ers defense is ridiculous. And it's the defense that scares me. We don't know if Jimmy G would be back. Deebo Samuel would be back. I think they're going to save both those guys for a late season run. I don't think they're going to bring them back for like a wild card or anything like that unless they're ready. But the San Francisco 49ers, they scare me. They really, really do. Because if the Jets, like, we kind of got a leg up because the Bills lost Von Miller. Quinnen Williams did not play versus when we played the Jets. And the 49ers, man, Bosa, Penei Sewell played him well, his debut game. But Bosa, Fred Warner, they make me nervous. Who in the world is Woody Ward? Okay. What in the world, bro? Who is this? Wow. Bro, I'm sorry. I saw the logo. Man, that's hilarious, bro. Anything could happen. Let's get into the playoffs. Who ain't no threat? The 49ers? Come on, y'all. I want revenge for first Minnesota game. I was telling my wife yesterday, I was like, man, I would want to go to that playoff game. I would drive. T says, I ain't scared of no team but Niners. Hey, listen. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I do 49ers games, and these guys are legit. Like, their defense has always been a problem. And they're scary to me. If we played them at home, I still would be nervous, but I wouldn't be as nervous. But Levi Stadium, against, and this team has won 7 in a row. And our defense is playing well, but we don't have any superstars on our defense. They do. Tay, it doesn't matter. They're winning with the last pick in the draft, which tells you everything you need to. And wait a minute, we forgot. We haven't even thought about the offensive side of the ball. Christian McCaffrey, anybody? Who all of a sudden is super healthy. Then we have Brandon Ayuk. We've got Deebo Samuel. Yeah, man. George Kittle, I'm telling you, That's the team that I do not want to see, especially in their place. If we play San Francisco, it would be a straight battle between the front seven and our O-line, and I unfortunately think the front seven will win that battle. Yeah, man, our best bet would be but here's how this is shaping up. This is even crazier. If the Detroit Lions get in with the 7th seed, okay, you know what? Let's do this since we having this conversation. We talked about in our last segment the Detroit Lions and their ability to clinch a wild card spot and a playoff spot before they even go face the Packers. But we're having a conversation in the live stream of who would you rather face if the Detroit Lions were to make the playoffs? If they clinch, the Lions that is, should we sit anybody on the team? Jared Goff, DeAndre Swift, St. Brown. Or if the Lions are 9-7, already in the playoffs and have a potential to go 10-7, maybe get the 6th seed, do you play Jared Goff and others? Now you have certain situations. If the Lions get into the playoffs, it's going to be at the 6th or 7th seed. The 5th seed is unattainable. Dallas already has 10 wins in the tiebreaker. So the 5th seed is unattainable. For the Detroit Lions, it is 6 or 7. If they make 6, right now they would face the San Francisco 49ers. If they make 7, they would face the Minnesota Vikings, who, let's be honest, we can beat them. We should have beat them twice, 3 times in the last 2 years. We'd be 3-1. But the reality is it's 2-2. But I think that would be a fantastic third round between those two teams. However, if somehow the Lions are 7th and the right set of things happens, because let's not forget, the San Francisco 49ers are 10-4, people. 10-4 with 3 games left. Now, I don't remember who. I think the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know who they play this week, but I think it's a very winnable game. Then the San Francisco 49ers play the Washington Commanders, and we need them to win that game. See, the 49ers, that is. So the question that I have for you guys is this. Who would you rather face, the Minnesota Vikings or the San Francisco 49ers? I don't want to play the San Francisco 49ers, but let's say that the Minnesota Vikings stay at 2 and everything is like it is right now, with the only difference is the 5th and 6th seed. Or, I'm sorry, 6th and 7th seed. We have number 7. We go into Minnesota. If we win that game, who do we play next? If the Detroit Lions in the first round are the 7th seed, they beat the Minnesota Vikings, get their first playoff win in 30 years exactly, pretty much, right? A little over that. Only their second playoff win in the Super Bowl era. Who do we face? Joseph says, doesn't matter, just keep winning. Well, I disagree. The Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. And you're talking about a year of rematches. The Philadelphia Eagles would host the lowest remaining seed after getting the bye week. Detroit Lions came back and lost by 3, 38-35 in week 1. On route to being the highest scoring offense in the league for the first month of the season. KD3 says, honestly, not scared of Philly. Well, y'all must have more faith in this team than I do. It's not that I don't. We haven't really, okay, what running quarterback have we faced since the winning streak? Josh Allen. He ate us up running, right? Jalen Hurts. We still have 3 weeks before that game would take place a month from now. I don't want to play the Niners first and then the Eagles will be next. I think we can beat all the other teams. The South winner, we can beat them. The Minnesota Vikings, the North, we can beat them. And whoever the 6th seed is, we can beat them. Justin Fields says 1 Pride 40. And he demolished us. He put almost 200 on the ground, set a franchise, like a quarterback rushing record or something. So if I'm y'all, I know you feeling it. I know you are feeling this team right now, but I think we have to drop it back a little bit. We're talking about between the two teams, the Minnesota Vikings, the three teams. These teams are a combined, what is that? 33-6. Right? No, 33-8. It is a one-game elimination, so things are different. But I think we got to slow down, y'all. I know we're like, go Lions, and because I'm going to tell you what. If the Lions make the playoffs, they've exceeded most of you guys' expectations. If they win a playoff game, then we literally could be like, man, they showed out. But to say that we can go, and I think we can beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. I think we can, meaning it's possible, but do I think we do it? I do not. I don't think we beat the Niners or the Philadelphia Eagles. I just do not. And to tell you the truth, I would rather see Philadelphia, because the 49ers, they are the LA Rams of 2022. They sold the farm for Christian McCaffrey, and he is paying dividends. He looked like a man reborn over there. I said, is this the same guy that kept getting hurt in Carolina? Like all the time, you do a stutter step and you pop a hammy, and all of a sudden he is just dicing folks up. So the question, Fresh and Fly says, Grid, just admit you think they are better than us. I do. I do think I think they have more talented players. But you can't, the thing about the playoffs is whoever's better that day. Whoever is better that day. So I think look at the Giants when they upset the Patriots in 2007. Look at the Giants every time they've made a playoff run and won. Fresh and Fly, I have not forgotten how well we defend the run. We've been a top 10 defense since the turnaround. What I'm saying to you is I don't like those matchups for our team. I just don't. And I think that if you think, or anyone thinks, that we're going to go to Levi Stadium and go to Lincoln Financial and beat those guys just because we're playing well now, I think you need to pump the brakes. Come on, man. I don't understand why we all of a sudden, those teams are better than our teams. They have better players, 100%. Can we beat them? Yes. Because any given Sunday, any team can literally beat any team. I'm going to tell you what. Here's what I would want to see. I would want to see the Lions make the playoffs. That's number one. I would much rather face Kirk Cousins, even with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, TJ Hawkinson. Their defense is not that great. I would much rather face them. And then after that, hey, I'm just here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. Chris says we are not losing to no team twice. Okay. Look, I'm with y'all. But I think that y'all need to come off the hopium. I sincerely believe that. I don't know if you watch these games, but the 49ers are a different breed of guys. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, they are a different, it's already house money. There you go. Look, we make it to the playoffs, I'm happy. We beat the Vikings, I'm ecstatic because I wanted to go to that game. I told my wife yesterday, I said, listen, I want to go to that game. I want to go. But the Bears tickets, for the game coming up this weekend or next weekend are the lowest price is $170. $170. I was like, oh my God. And the whole family wanted to go. So I couldn't imagine what the Minnesota Vikings tickets would be. But I still want to go to that game. I want to go. If they make it and they play, I would love to witness something that hasn't happened since I was in middle school. Even if they lost, man, to be there after the season we had, after how people treated us, man, I would love to see it. But let me know in the comments below. Would you rather face the Vikings or the San Francisco 49ers if the Lions make it to the playoffs in that first round? Come on, y'all. Am I saying that the defense for the Niners is better than the Jets? I'm saying that the 49ers are 10-4 and that their defense have a lot to do with it. And I'm saying that the San Francisco 49ers defense is so legit that you can have Brock Purdy as your quarterback and still win. That's what I'm saying. Have you looked at other teams? Seahawks tickets are like $300 for the nosebleed. No, I haven't. Why would I look at other teams? Why would I look at other teams, bro? I looked at my team. When you trying to take 4 people to the game, though, 170 add up real quick, bro. Not to mention the 50 you're going to pay for parking. I'm mad at the Lions, man. Team is winning. That is how you win. That's when you win, you get to charge more. That is how you charge more. At this point, we shouldn't care who we play. And look, at this point, we got to make it. We have to make it there. We just, doing this for trying to figure out, what the best matchup would be. But you sound like we just happy we made it, right? If we make it, we want to win. We want to win. We're all 11 men as our opponents. 11 man is best man who wins. Take the Lions for granted. We are the Lions. We are a team of destiny. This is our year. I really believe that. Mo, you mean, when you say this is our year, what do you mean? You mean like the whole way? I've thought about that. I've thought about that big time. Like, what if the Lions were that team, that New York Giant team of 07, that New York Giant team of 2011? What if they were that team? Man. Y'all, okay, all right, listen. Let's have a conversation. Y'all be giving me some great content, man. I appreciate that. All right, here we go. Okay. So the hopium in Detroit is high. From 1-6 to 7-7. 6 out of 7 in our last 7 games. Lost to the Super Bowl contending Buffalo Bills. And a lot of Lions fans are feeling good right now. And I am getting some vibes in the chat of potential Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions. Now, let's not get it twisted. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen. But my question is for you, the listener, and you in the chat. How likely do you think it is that the team that we're watching right now, the team that has yet to make the playoffs, we already discussed how we can do that. Right combinations of things happen, we can clinch a playoff seed by week 17. It's looking like we could go to Minnesota, play them in round 1. If we were the 7th seed and we beat them, we would have to travel to Philly for the divisional round. And whoever left, we would see them in the NFC Championship game. Now, I'm just getting giddy. Like I have goosebumps just talking about it. Just talking about it. Then we would have to face AFC, right? Bills. I think it's going to be Bills, Chiefs, or Bengals. I think one of those 3 teams are going to represent the AFC. But my question to you, this is based off some conversation in the chat, is could this be the year for the Detroit Lions? Dan Campbell Shout out to Nick because I know where he was going. Dan Campbell, when HBO asked Dan Campbell, what are the 2022 Detroit Lions? He sat there for what seemed like 5 minutes, and he said, they can and they will. We started off 1-6. We're all upset. Even the SOL folks are coming out. Now we go 6-1. We sit at 7-7 with a possibility to be the second team in the NFL since 1970 to make it at 1-6. Now, granted, it was a lesser game season back then, but still, to make the playoffs. Could this Cinderella story continue? Now, I don't know. I don't know. And I would hate to tell y'all, yeah, man, the Lions going to the Super Bowl. I would love to say that. I would love to say that. We've seen it happen. We have seen the New York Giants, 6th seed, knock off the undefeated, was the team that kept the Patriots from going 18 or 19-0. It was either 18 or 19-0. So we've seen it. But how many of y'all believe that this is that year? I can't even believe we're having this conversation. I do think our time is coming. I think it's going to happen. I know, wait, before y'all come at me, hear me out. I think it's going to happen before I'm 50. I just turned 43. I think the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl before I turn 50. Pittsburgh did it in 2006. Is that the Seattle Super Bowl? Man, that game. I did not want to see Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl. Man, they priced the average man out of the Super Bowl because I'm looking. So, Nate, yeah, the Super Bowl is not even for you. It's not for me. It's for the 200 and some countries or whoever are there. Half of the stadium is media, press, families of the team, and most of the Super Bowl people that go, the audience, are people who got tickets via some corporation. Now, we hear this a lot. We hear this a lot, that people talking Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions. We hear it a ton. And I understand where y'all going with this. I'm not saying that they can't do it, because I am a huge believer in narrative. I'm a huge believer in any given Sunday. I'm a huge believer that it's possible. But my thing to you guys is this. I think we got to be realistic. A lot of y'all, and hold on, let me back up a little bit. Let me do this a little bit, because I need to just bring it back. I need to bring it back just a little bit. All right, let's back it up a little bit. The Detroit Lions need to get to the playoffs, right? They have to get to the playoffs. That's hurdle number one. If we get there, as discussed earlier, we're most likely seed 7, potentially 6. We have to go to Minnesota. Can we beat them? Yes. I expect us to beat them if we play them, right? If we then beat them, we have to go into Philly and beat them. Okay? Let's entertain that. We put out the number 2 seed. We put out the number 1 seed. Okay. All right. Now we going somewhere, right? The Lions are going on the road, because these would be all road games. All road games. One of them would be outside for sure. Jared Goff. A lot of y'all don't believe in JG on the road. I'm not trying to pull this. I'm just saying, just back it up just a little bit. I'm with y'all. I want to believe too. But y'all telling me that this could be our year. Okay. And I'm telling you it could, based on NFL narrative and any given Sunday. However, let's look at the path to the Super Bowl. And I will say this. Based on that narrative, I could legitimately see with the right things happening, it could. I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying I'm basing it off. I saw this narrative a long time ago when Stafford was traded And once he won the Super Bowl, I said our time was coming. Because I'm a huge believer in the NFL narrative, that there are storylines at play, and the NFL wants to see that happen. And I believe that the Detroit Lions, they will win a Super Bowl by the time I turn 50. But let's entertain this Super Bowl. So let's look at who's left. So the Detroit Lions, they go in, they beat the Minnesota Vikings. I believe that that's more than possible. I think that actually happens, right? We go to Philly. So we knocked off the number 2 seed. We go to Philly, and we beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So the NFC Championship game would be the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys for the NFC Championship. Now, I tell you what. If you want to talk about NFL narrative, there it is. That right there is an NFL narrative. That right there is completely overhauls the way that I'm thinking this. If we have to go to the Dallas Cowboys, who slaughtered us in week 6 or 7, whatever week that was, and we get to pay them back for 2014, I'm just saying, all right? So, again, we have to go to Minnesota, beat them, possible. That would mean that the Minnesota Vikings, we then play the Philadelphia Eagles, and let's assume that the 49ers beat the number 6 seed, which would be, I don't know, the Giants or something. So we're either playing the Niners or the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. Now listen, Robert, I have no idea what you're talking about. So if you're talking to me, I'm going to say it very clear so you can understand what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. What I think happens with this team is the Detroit Lions, they make the playoffs. They can get past the Minnesota Vikings. I do not believe we have the team to get past, like y'all we're going to beat the 49ers if we play them. We're going to beat the Eagles if we play them. We're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys or 49ers, and then we're going to go to the Super Bowl. I will never, ever spew that in front of y'all. What I'm saying is I believe in NFL narrative. I also believe that it's in any given Sunday. And what I do know is we have to make the playoffs first. Listen, I applaud y'all for this amount of belief that you have in the NFL. I don't have this belief yet. Not for my team. Do I think it's coming? I do. It has nothing to do with the Detroit Lions and the players. It has everything to do that the NFL, you will win when they're ready for you to win. You will win when the NFL deems it necessary. When they see that it is our time to win, we will. Could it be this year? Listen, we get into the playoffs. We beat the Minnesota Vikings, and we beat the Dallas Cow. We beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, then now we talking. So this segment went a little long. I apologize. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this is the year for the Detroit Lions? Do you believe that this is the year for the Detroit Lions? To take it all. Not make it to the playoffs, not win a game, not win 2 games. To beat the Minnesota Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles, both on the road, the NFC title game on the road, and then make it to the Super Bowl. You let me know. I don't want to get Lions Mania onto a narrative thing. I don't want to go down that path. But because I know a lot of y'all don't believe it, but I do, 100%. 100%. I called Stafford Super Bowl last year. And to me, you have to not want to see it to if you don't see it, it's because you don't want to. But that's perfectly fine. I have accepted the fact that the NFL is what it is. It's there to entertain us. All that I've asked the NFL is to make sure that my team gets what they're due. The Detroit Lions are overdue to be at the top at the top. Melamo says this is our Cinderella story, possibly the greatest ever from Hard Knocks 1-6 to Super Bowl. Melamo, okay, let me ask y'all a question. For those of you that believe that, what is your level of disappointment on a 1 to 10? If the Lions, we got to get in the playoffs first. But if the Lions don't make and win the Super Bowl, what are you, Melamo, I'm talking directly to you. What do you expect from the Lions this year? I think the narrative puts us there like the Bengals and lose. Seven wins was in the basement. 10 wins was my ceiling. Now, I want y'all to don't listen. Y'all in the chat, don't come back to me talking about I was saying Super Bowl. Don't come back to me with that stuff because I didn't say that. I did not say that at all. Elevator says it's Romeo and Juliet. It's more like David versus Goliath. Okay, Nate says oh, man. Hold on, y'all. My son hung up. I should kick his butt. I'm going to kick his. Somebody's calling me. They got to come fix our washing machine. And he hung up on them. Okay, well, we about to wrap it up anyway. So, listening to this back on playback, I am a huge. Okay, let me just make this very clear because I want y'all to understand where I'm coming from. All right, because it's like 3 different levels of this. And I believe it could go either way. I thought about that a few days ago, like, dang, man, what if the Lions go all the way? Just because of how things are going right now, right? What if they go all the way, right? So I thought about that. Then I brought myself down. I'm like, nah, right? It ain't the time. It ain't the time. Well, I do believe, however, that it is setting up to be our time soon. And so here's what I'll say to the people that say we could do it this year, right? We could do it this year. Here's what I'll say. I'll say this. The NFL narrative changed when Matthew Stafford was traded, right? The NFL narrative began to change toward the Detroit Lions. Last year, we were at the bottom. He was at the top, right? Matthew Stafford was at the top of the mountaintop. From the moment he left here, he never lowered any lower than the mountaintop. We then get Jameson Williams, yada, yada, all this other stuff. Hard Knocks. Okay, good. They called my wife. Thank you. My son. My phone calls go to my iPad or the iPad. His iPad is connected to my account. So when my phone rings, his iPad rings, and that dude hung up before I can answer the phone. Kick his butt. Matthew Stafford, top of the mountaintop. Look at him now, though. Just saying. He got his chip. He's at the bottom now. He's back in the basement for now. Rams might be in the basement for a minute. They might be in the basement. They have $6 million in cap space, projected cap space for next year. They have no first-round pick. They could be in the basement, right? Here we go to this year. We get Hard Knocks and the draft announced in the same day. I'm like, uh-oh, it's coming. We get the draft in 2024. On top of that, we get a second first-round pick 6 months from now. Okay. So what I believe is that next year, the Lions are going to overtake the North. Green Bay is done. Minnesota, they're like coming off them vapors. They in Green Bay's drift. They're going to claim it this year. They already have. I think the Lions are going to dominate the North. We've never won the NFC North. It's setting up for the Detroit Lions to dominate, from Dan Campbell to everything else. So now Here it is this year. 1-6 to 6-1 to 7-7 with a potential to be 10-7, make the playoffs. Could we go on a run? Absolutely. Because it at that moment in the playoffs is whoever's better that day. Do I think that we have a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles? I do not. A better team than the San Francisco 49ers? I don't. Of the people in the playoffs right now, I think we have a better team than the Giants, the Commanders, and possibly the Buccaneers. However, I am aware that there is a one-game elimination come playoff time, and it's whoever is better that day. The Lions would have to basically be the Giants of 2006 or the 2007. So, Melo Mo, I asked you a question. What would be, if they don't go all the way, how do you feel? If you think this team is going to the Super Bowl, is it going and winning? How far do you think they're going to go? Because we got a few people in here that believe that that's going to happen. No, Chris Wink, you are completely wrong, my friend. And I hope this isn't the Chris Wink that just got his picture, because you've been around me longer than that. You've been around me longer than that, my friend. I'm asking y'all to be realistic. And I'm the dude that believes in the NFL narrative. I expect this team to make the playoffs and beat the Minnesota Vikings. Would I be surprised if we went all the way? I wouldn't. Do I expecting us to go all the way? Not necessarily. I don't think it's but could we? I don't know what the NFL has planned. I have no idea. Okay, Melo Mo says, I'll take it further. We winning this year and next year. Okay, so Melo Mo, just so I'm clear, because I want to be clear, you're saying that we're winning the Super Bowl in 2021. This year, the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl, I just want to be clear. And we're not even in the playoffs yet. But listen, if you believe that, that's fine. I have no issue with that. I don't want y'all to be disappointed if it doesn't happen. Joseph says the season has been great, A1 house money at this point. Joseph, I disagree with that. I had us at 9-8. So we're not playing with no house money till we get in the playoffs. Once we get in the playoffs, that's where I had us. So you might be playing with house money. I'm still not yet. I said Super Bowl, forget what Syndicate talking about. I can't be scared now. Okay. And when you say you don't know what the NFL plan, what do you mean? Orlando, I don't win. I just spent 30 minutes talking about it, bro. I don't. Okay, let me say this. Here's what I think the NFL has in store, right? Do y'all understand? Okay. So the NFL, and we got to get off soon, but with the NFL, the way that it goes is that the last game of the year is always flex. Like if you go look at the calendar right now, there is no Sunday night game. All the week 18 games have no time. They have no time or station or anything. One of the reasons for that is to discourage people or teams from tanking. Right? If a team is playing for something at the same moment, they're going to try to play as many games as they can at the same time, due to the fact of one team might not be trying as hard as the other team, right? What I believe that the NFL is doing is week 18, the most important game of the season left with the most on the line will be played Sunday night, right? Sunday night. Okay, Joseph, somebody please tell this man that I was talking playoffs. Joseph, go look at my content, bro. I'm not a liar. I'm not that dude. Don't be that guy this week, bro, because I haven't went off this week, but I will. I'm not a liar. I'm not your favorite YouTube hang. Ooh, I almost said something. I am not that dude. So you go check the tape, my friend, and say that I was talking playoffs. That the season was not over at 1-6. Where was I? The Detroit Lions. It is setting up. Here's why I want the Packers to lose. Packers need to lose to the Miami Dolphins. They do. We have seen this before. A lot of y'all think Aaron Rodgers' time is over. I believed it. I do. But as long as you give him some space, it will depend on what the NFL wants them to do, right? If you go look at the game that we beat them, the NFL tried to give the Packers that game. I said it all during my stream. I didn't want this to turn into a conspiracy theory show. I have my beliefs. I still want my team to win. I love the NFL. I watch it as entertainment. I just want my city to be winners. The NFL was doing everything in their possible for the Green Bay Packers to win that game. They didn't. Right? They didn't. Now we have to go. If the Green Bay Packers beat the Miami Dolphins, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if they beat the Minnesota Vikings. I'm just telling you right now. Don't be surprised. That's if they beat the Miami Dolphins. If they lose to the Miami Dolphins, it's over for the Green Bay Packers. Which I have them losing, but if they beat the Miami Dolphins, do not be surprised if the Green Bay Packers beat the Minnesota Vikings at home. Lambeau Field is like a majestic place when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. It wasn't the same with Brett Favre, okay? Y'all done got me going this. If the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions are playing for something, and it's not a game with bigger stakes on, we will be the 272nd game of the NFL season. Right? So we need to snuff. It's not that I'm afraid of Aaron Rodgers. I'm afraid of the NFL. We have seen this, Lions fans. But quickly, y'all forget about the hands to the face back in 2019. That's the moment I knew the NFL was not what it seemed. Y'all seem to forget about the phantom face mask. Y'all seem to forget about the no call with the New Orleans Saints? The year Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. Come on, man. Do you remember about the Houston Texan being down, getting up, running a touchdown? Come on, y'all. But anyway, let's go back to our team. When it comes to the Detroit Lions, this is what I want to see. I want to see a playoff appearance. I want to see them face the Minnesota Vikings. I want to see them beat the Minnesota Vikings. If we win and face the San Francisco 49ers, we would play the Philadelphia Eagles, and we lost, my heart would be sad, but I would walk out of there with my head held high the same way I walked out of SoFi Stadium with the 0-17. I would walk out. Although, if they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and go to the NFC Championship game, then I think y'all might be on to something. Right? So here's what I'm saying as we wrap this day up. See, y'all done got me all outside of myself, man. I try to put this stuff behind me because it was so traumatizing. I'm sitting here and I'm watching the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions at that time. I think we had the same record back in 2019, and they did everything possible for Mason Crosby to kick that field goal. It was no way they were going to let the Lions beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. I could make a whole channel on thoughts that I have about the NFL, but I don't want to be that guy. I know it's there. I just like to have fun and talk about my team. And I'm ready for the NFL to. We've been in the doghouse for 60 plus years, man. I'm ready for them to let us out. Let the dogs out, man. Let us eat. And I'll be happy. 100%. So, with that being said, the Detroit Lions I do believe they do something that hasn't been done in 60 years or in 52 years. That'd be two opportunities that they had to do something that hadn't been done in over 5 decades. One was they would have gone undefeated. That would have been the first time in franchise history, well, since in 50 or 60 years that they went undefeated in the month of November. And now they got something, they can do something that only one team has done. Start 1-6 and make the playoffs. And I think they can beat the Minnesota Vikings. And for me, that's where this story's. That's for me where this Cinderella story ends. Anything past that for me, I am just. Now I'm like, man, this is exciting. This is crazy. So, but that's where I fully expect them to make the playoffs. I fully expect them to beat the Minnesota Vikings. I just want to be there. I just want to be there, man. So, first thing I'm going to do is try to put some money aside for a potential nosebleed ticket. Maybe drive up there. The game will be at 1 o'clock and drive back. I will say this as we wrap this thing up. I think our time is coming. You can watch the Gridiron Blitz. You can watch Detroit Lions Syndicate. I try not to bring that over to that channel. But our time is coming. I fully expect us to compete for the division next year and most likely win. I fully expect that to get our first NFC North title, to be the true kings of the North, because the Minnesota Vikings are calling themselves the kings of the North. And I'm like, okay, you won the North like 4 times, but okay. And I feel like us being Lions, the title king is reserved for us, right? I do expect the year that we have the draft, I think we're going to be a scary team. I think 2024, we're going to be like the 49ers, where our defense is relentless. It's scary. I think that Jared Goff is going to be here. I think Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are going to shore up this defense with young players. I think the offense, he's going to, patch up, do some patch jobs because we don't need that much. Josh Reynolds might be on another team. DeAndre Swift might be on another team. I'm hearing this kid, what's his name, Bijan, that a lot of Lions fans want him drafted. So what I expect this year from the Detroit Lions is a playoff spot and a playoff win. This year it started off as a playoff spot and it's right now a playoff win because of who we be facing. If we face, I'll say this and then I'll end the show. If the Detroit Lions somehow are the 6th seed and they faced and beat the San Francisco 49ers in the first round, I might start talking. And if we beat the Eagles, listen, if the Lions were the 6th seed, that means that we would have to knock off the best 2 teams in the conference and then probably play the Minnesota Vikings or the Dallas Cowboys on the road just to make the Super Bowl. If we get past the number 1 seed, now we can talk. But with that being said, man, don't forget about New Era Lions, a new time or a different time this week due to the holidays happening tomorrow at 5, I think it's 6 p.m., hosted by David Pike. Next Tuesday will be the Touchdown Detroit Lions show by Nick Harkson. And also, come back to this video and tell me if you see something new. It's on YouTube, and just tell me if you see something new. I want you to come back to this video and tell me what that new thing is that you see. Now, by special request, because we're talking about, is it the Detroit Lions time? This is by special request. This is how we will end the show. And I will see you guys on another day. Trying to find it. We played this last week. All right. I'll see y'all. Nope. No, why is it not? It said it was hooked up. Okay, it says not connected. Nope, not that one. Okay, hold on. I got to do this. I got to do this. Got to back out. Got to hit that. Got to go here. Nope, not that one. I want it. There we go. Y'all done got me worked up, man. But if y'all right and I'm wrong, I'll take that in a minute. All right. I'll see y'all again.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finish. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid, I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Kool-Aid. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never catch me in the next man's sweater. If they hate, let them hate. I drop your whole clan. Lay your down for the 3-second tan. Your time is up, my